All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm joined by my man, Keanu McGill. How are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. How
Yeah.
are you doing?
Yeah, man, of course. Thanks for coming on. Doing pretty well. I'm happy to talk to you and excited for today.
Of course, I'm very excited as well.
Awesome, man. So, yeah, you and I, we just kind of recently connected, but Keanu, he is actually the number one amateur right-handed arm wrestler in Canada. So
Mhm.
super awesome. Arm wrestling is pretty sweet sport and some one that I feel like not too many people know about. So excited to hear about that today. But do you mind kind of like talking a little bit about yourself, who you are, your background, all that good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I'm obviously Canadian. I am currently living in Ontario and originally from Quebec, so just a neighbor of Ontario. And yeah, so grew up most of my life in Quebec, and then I joined the Royal Canadian Navy. Did 4 years of service, traveled the world. Pretty cool stuff there. Released, moved across the country, stayed busy for about another year and a half, and I am now currently a helicopter mechanic in training. So, yeah,
Okay.
just enjoying life here in Ontario and military member.
That's awesome, man. Well, you know, that's really cool that you were able to travel and serve your country and everything. And I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of cool things. And I mean, I'm sure there's some difficult parts to it as well. But that's really awesome, man.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy experience for sure. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Was enlisting something that you kind of always planned on doing, or is that something that kind of runs in the family, or how did you come upon that decision?
Yeah, I never planned on like I had the idea when I was a kid, but I mean, I don't have any family in the military, and it was kind of scary to me.
Yeah.
But it's the funniest thing is the reason why I joined the military. This is pretty funny. So at one point when I was 19 years old, I was living next to a military base with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and I wake up one morning and I hear like a lot of soldiers doing like push-ups and screaming. So I wake up, it's like 4 in the morning, and I go on my balcony and I look out, and there must have been maybe about 100 recruits, soldiers doing push-ups and being screamed at. And I don't know what it was, but as I saw that, I was like, that is really cool. So literally the day after I applied into the military, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's a pretty wild story, man. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like kind of right place, right time kind of situation. Like
Right?
if you weren't living there, you didn't hear that, you didn't happen to, overhear it and look out the balcony. It's like, well, who knows what you'd be doing right now. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was just, one of those things where you just like if I would have not even been there that morning and I would have
Yeah,
been somewhere else, um,
exactly.
and or I would have missed this by, I don't know, let's say 5 minutes.
Right.
My life would be completely different. So yeah, very, very weird, but it's yeah, very interesting.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. So during your time serving, I'm sure you probably learned a lot about life, a lot about yourself. What are some kind of, I guess, things that you took away from that experience?
Oh man. I didn't leave home. Like I left for college when I was 17, but to actually leave the province and move away and to completely change my life, um, absolutely, it's astonishing. Like, soon as I enlisted, I finished my training and I moved across the country. It, my life changed completely. Once I started to travel, it really, really opened my eyes about life in general. And I've been so fortunate to have that experience because honestly, I don't ever want to go home again. Like, I just want to keep traveling. And um, if there's any advice I can give to anyone is if you've never left home, if you've never left your province, your state, wherever you are in the world, just get out of your comfort zone and just, it doesn't have to be in the military. It could be on your own behalf, but to get out and see something completely different will definitely change your life. And I cannot stress it enough. I do think that everyone should have some type of travel in their life. It's life changing for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that, you said to step out of your comfort zone. And I think that's, let's be honest, man, like we all like to be comfortable, right? Like it's uncomfortable to step out of our comfort zone.
Right?
Um, so I mean, like, do you have any advice to anyone listening who might be like, I really want to step out of my comfort zone, but like I mentally can't like do it, or like I'm struggling getting there. Do you have any advice for like how you've been able to step out of your comfort zone?
So one thing, okay, a couple things here. So one thing is I try to always have a positive outlook on life. And you can, and what I'm about to say, you can kind of relate this to anything. Things are going to suck. Things are going to suck. And, things will never go 100% your way. And what I'm saying is, um, how can I put this into context? Sorry. If things are going to suck and you have to embrace the suck. And if you can I'll give you an example. I'll give you a really good example. So I actually went on to Canada's Wonderland last weekend, and it was a torrential rains were hitting, and we were the last people to go on this ride. And I look at my friend and I'm like, instead of us turning around and going home, I said, this is going to suck so much. This is actually going to be fun. And he looked at me and he smiled, and I looked at him and I said, let's go. And we hit that roller coaster, and it sucked so bad, but the feeling of doing it, like we got off that ride soaking wet, and it's just something so simple, but sometimes, you just got to embrace it. And it could have been so much easier to be like, yeah, let's just leave. This is just going to suck. We're going to get rained on. It's just going to be a nightmare. But instead we're like, you know what, let's go embrace this and have as much fun as possible. And when we got off that ride, we were laughing. We're like, we cannot believe we just did that. And it was just a stupid story to tell later on. But in relation to life, you can't, in my opinion, in life, you have to chase things. You have to be very active. You cannot expect things to come to you, and nothing will ever come easy. Honestly, that sounds really, really cheesy, but you got to go for your goals. So getting out of your comfort zone is something that you need to do if you want to grow, if you want to progress in your life for sure.
Definitely. Oh man, I love everything you said. Just from embrace the suck. Like I think that's so important, and stepping out of your comfort zone to grow. And like, if you want to achieve something or accomplish something, like you're going to have those times where things are going to be tough. And I mean, like, I doubt I doubt there's many people, if any, in the world who are doing something that they love or at a high level and they didn't fail at least once along the way, right? Like, I mean, I know there's people that are like naturally gifted at certain things, but like we're all gonna fail, we're all gonna make mistakes at some point. So it's like just embrace it and like be there for the journey, right? Like, it's not always gonna be great, but it's gonna be worth it.
100%. And I can agree with that, because the thing is everyone in life wants that end result. But
Yeah.
what no one is focusing on, like you just mentioned, is the journey. And in order to get to that result, you have to enjoy the process.
Yep.
Things don't come. Immediate gratitude is not a thing. That's people who have gone so far in life, and people who have accomplished so many things. Do you think the richest? Okay, I mean, obviously, some people get lucky, but a lot of people make it far. They don't make it dreading. Oh, like, how do I say this? You have to enjoy the process. You
Hmm.
cannot rush the process. It doesn't matter if you're coming out of a relationship and you're in a grieving period. It doesn't matter if you're chasing to pay off your debt. It could be anything. Enjoy the process, because this is going to sound cheesy, but we only live once, and you
Yeah.
don't want to be, let's say 50, 60, 70, 80 years old and looking back and just being like, I should have just enjoyed it, because you only live once. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's great. And for me personally, man, like this whole past couple of years with everything going on in the world, and pandemic and all that stuff, like it just really for me put that perspective in my mind of like, you know, a couple of years ago, there might have been times where some friends say like, "Hey, let's go, on a trip, or let's go hang out somewhere tonight." And I'm like, "Ah, no, like I have a lot of work, or I have work in the morning or whatever." So I'm like, I can do that next time. And then seeing the world kind of shut down, I'm like, "Oh my God, like without even me doing anything, like I could miss out on all these things." So it's like you only live once. You have to take advantage of these and step out of your comfort zone and, just make the most out of your life.
oh, I agree. And, I can kind of relate to that too. Like before COVID-19 hit, no one ever thought about, the normal things like just going to a restaurant or hanging out with
Yeah,
your friends, or no one, like even putting a mask on, no one would ever think of that. And then
right.
once everything is taken away from you, it makes you really start to think about things. And at the beginning, it can be fun. It can be like, oh, well, who cares, whatever. But over time, if like, especially with what's going on in the world, you take a lot of time to yourself, and I do
Hmm.
think it's been a growing process for the majority of the world. I mean, probably everyone individually. Um, you learn a lot through hard times, and the only way to learn is to go through the process. And
Exactly.
spending a lot of time alone, embracing the suck, like knowing like, okay, we have another 4 months, another 3 months, 2 months of lockdown. Oh, we have another at least 6 months of wearing a mask. Like, you know what? Instead of sitting there and pouting and complaining about it, why don't you just act like it's normal? And when that, look for the word, when that possibility of, I'm looking for a specific word, when you're able to, I'm looking for a word. Anyways, sorry. What I'm getting to is um, it, just accept everything the way it is. Life is
Yeah.
not out to get you. Enjoy the process. If it's gonna suck, it's gonna suck. It's not supposed to always be fun. Life is not easy, and
Right.
yeah, just honestly, just go through the process and try to see the glass half full as opposed to half empty.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know, man, whether it's like maybe TV shows, movies, books, whatever that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of people as we grow up and get older and maybe go to college, maybe you don't, but like your 20s, 30s, there's kind of this narrative that like life is supposed to be great and it's just this great time and it's all easy and simple and it is a good time, but at the same time like life's tough, like especially in those 20s, 30s, like you're maybe trying to find a house or an apartment
Hmm.
or whatever, like you're finding your job, you're figuring out what you want to do for your career, maybe you're starting a family, there's just so much. So it's like truly embrace it all, but know that like a lot of good's going to come out of this time, but there's also going to be some tough times, but just embrace it and know that like it's part of your journey. And, the thing that might be keeping you up all night tonight, like a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, like you probably won't even really remember it. Or you might be able to look
Hmm.
back on it and like laugh and be like, oh, remember that time that, I thought my world was falling apart because, I couldn't go to the gym for a month or something because
Hmm.
I sprained my wrist. Now like it's so insignificant in the rear view.
Hmm. Yeah, if there's one thing that I'm definitely taken out of what's happened in the past 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I guess with what's the massive change that's happened in the world,
Hmm.
is it's easy to plan things, but what I've learned is the majority of the time life doesn't go as planned. You have to just accept the way things are
Yeah.
and move forward. And like I said, see the glass half full, don't see it half empty, because I've seen so many people around me who are very negative about everything, and I'm like you're healthy, you're fed, you have a roof over your head. Like there's so much worse out there. Instead
Hmm.
of sitting there complaining, why don't you just say like, anyways, I can say the same thing I said before. Just embrace it and
Yeah.
just move forward with a great attitude, because this is gonna sound cheesy again, but life is very very short, and there's
It
so
is.
much that is out there. There's so many places to see. There's so many people to meet, experiences, and to sit there and to be mad about one specific thing, and to bang your head over something very insignificant is absolutely ridiculous. So,
Definitely. And
yeah.
you've talked about like seeing life with like the glass half full and just
Hmm.
being positive. And you said, positivity and a good mindset is important to you.
Of course.
Um, I agree. I'm on the same page, and I like you. I think I know a lot of people. I see a lot of people that are kind of the other way and see the glass half empty, very
Hmm.
negative. And with everything that's been going on in the world, like I feel like it's easy to get in that like, oh, like everything sucks, like this is all
Hmm.
terrible. So I mean, is there anything, whether you do it now or you've done it to get to this point, that's helped you stay positive and to have that perspective of like the glass half full? Is there anything that helps you stay in that mindset?
Um, I don't know if there's anything specific, but I am a huge believer in personal growth.
Okay.
And I think that what the thing that gets to me is, why would you be negative about something if you could, you know, see it? Like, I can give you a little bit of an example.
Hmm.
So, the beginning of actually Christmas last year, I ended up breaking up with my ex at the time, my fiance, and we
Okay.
were in a serious relationship for 3 years. And at that time, after this breakup happened at Christmas, and I was completely depressed, like most people would after a serious relationship.
Hmm.
And I decided to go get help, mental health, social workers, counseling, all that stuff. And one thing they made me realize is you got to do things for yourself, and you got to move forward. And and then I started to think, and I'm like, why am I going to sit here and and pout and complain and act like the world is against me when I could just tell myself, like, you know what, I'm a single now, I'm free, I get to travel, I get to you know write down new goals, I get to do new things, I get to meet new friends. I just want to be so much better. And people, it's mind boggles me on how many people get stuck on certain things and don't grow as a person. I
Hmm.
have friends back home that are doing the exact same things when I left for the military like 6 years ago. They're the exact same person. They're working the same job, making the exact same money. They've done nothing. And, looking back on my own experience, I was able to travel the world, do all these amazing things. And all these experiences help you grow as a person.
Yeah.
Good times, tough times. But really, it's just personal growth, man, honestly. Um, and I know it sounds really easy to be like, oh, you should try to be positive about things and not negative, because sometimes it's not that easy. But life is beautiful, man, and you just got to enjoy it, because we're only here once. And we live in the present, we don't live in the past, we don't live in the future.
Mm, I love that, man. Yeah, that's you're you're doing a phenomenal job just explaining all these things, and like everything you say, I hear it and I'm like, that's exactly my thoughts on it, or I couldn't have said it better myself. And I think that presence is so important. Like being in the present moment, like we're not our past, we're not our future. And with the whole not our future thing, of course it's okay and healthy to have goals and say, 5 years from now I want to have this or that or be this or that, or a year from now. But like just embracing the current moment that
Hmm.
we're in right now and just being fully focused in it. Like, I think that because of, the way that we grow up with phones and computers and technology and stuff, it's
Hmm.
easy to kind of like want to multitask or get distracted, but it's like you just have to be fully present and engaged in what you're doing or who you're with, and you just kind of see things in a different way, and it's just such a great feeling.
Oh, for sure. And people get hung up on, oh, in 10 years from now, if I win the lottery, when my debt's paid off, or
Hmm.
they'll focus on the past. But the thing is you can't control the past, you cannot control the future, you can only control what you can control.
Hmm.
So focus on things you can control. And obviously, trying to be positive about it is would be the better way to go about things. But just focusing on what you can control, and that will go a very
Yeah.
long way. Because to be mad at someone, to think that the world is against you, everyone's out to get you, you take care of yourself. There's no one at the end of the day. I mean, obviously you have family and friends, but you do you. There's no one else is sitting there watching you. If it comes to studying, we could use studying example. All your buddies can be at the bar, they could be out doing their own things, but at the end of the day, you gotta study, you gotta do your thing. There's no one sitting there over your shoulder going, oh, I hope he's studying very hard, I hope she's studying very hard. No, no one. Obviously, everyone cares, but no one really cares. You got to really focus on what you can
Hmm.
do yourself, and people only see the results. So, I'm going through a phase right now where I have to pass my tests in order to be qualified for my job. And I'm the only one who decides if I want to pass. It's obviously the amount of work I want to put in. If
Yep.
I fail, people are going to say, oh, he failed. And if I pass, people are going to say, oh, he passed. No one really cares. It's really about yourself, and you got to focus on yourself. You can't control anything else. You can't control no one else. So um, you're just focusing on what you can control.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's so much in the world and in our lives that we can't control. So, like, why stress or worry about those things when there is a decent amount that we can control? So let's take what we can control and put
Hmm.
our focus there, and it makes a huge difference. I'm
Oh,
definitely with you.
I agree, 100%, man, 100%.
Definitely. Awesome. So I have to ask about the arm wrestling. So,
Yep.
you know, how did that come about, or just
Hmm.
tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I started arm wrestling in 2016
Okay.
competitively. So before I got into actual arm wrestling, my father was always good at it. You know, he'd
Okay.
always have friends over. He would win all the time. No one could beat him. And so I would always go up against my friends and I would always win, you know, when I was about 18 years old.
Hmm.
After I joined the military, I moved to Nova Scotia, the east side of Canada, on the East Coast, and I found out that arm wrestling was an actual thing. Like there are clubs, there are
Yeah.
provincials, there are nationals, there are worlds. And I was like fascinated by it because, you know, I was good at it. My father was undefeated in bars and friends and everything. So I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I want to get into this. And so I remember going to my first practice and I was nervous. Like my heart was racing, very intimidated. And, you know, everyone was very welcoming. The people were amazing. And I was just like surprised by the camaraderie and, you know, on how good people were. And I was like, okay, I thought everyone was gonna try to beat me. Was gonna be like, oh no, you're weak, this and that. And anyways, so I started going to practices that were held up in Sackville, Nova Scotia. That's about 20 minutes from Halifax. And yeah, from that moment forward, I started doing tournaments. And I guess the rest is history, man. Like I've
Yeah.
been doing competitive arm wrestling seriously since 2017, and I
Okay.
live for it. There's not a day that I go without thinking about arm wrestling.
That's
Like
awesome.
I literally like will go to the gym. I'm a very active guy. I'll go to the gym. I'll do like 2 days of, you know, your bro splits, your back bicep, your
Yeah.
chest tricep type of thing. But then my third day will usually be an arm wrestling specific workout with my tools. Yeah, and I have a YouTube channel for my
Yeah.
arm wrestling, so I always film my GoPro and put a little thing together. Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I think arm wrestling it's really cool, and I don't know, like I don't know if this is just like a boy thing growing up or whatever, but like
Mhm.
I remember growing up just like arm wrestling with like, friends, family or whatever just for fun, like super casually. So I was like, this is always cool. And then actually probably within the last like few months or like to a year, I stumbled upon, I don't know if you've heard of him, James English.
Yes, I know
He's a
exactly who he
like
is.
fitness guy. Yeah. So he's
I know
like a
exactly who he's.
fitness influencer, but he's like
Yep,
super big into arm wrestling. And
yep.
I've just been like watching some of his stuff about it. And I'm like, there's so much more to this sport than I
Hmm.
realized. And like, I mean, honestly, before watching his content, like I didn't even really think I considered arm wrestling as a sport. But now
Of
like
course.
seeing it and like having the conversations with you and stuff, it's like there's so much that goes into it. And it's such a cool sport. And it's really cool to see how you've been able to embrace it and really make that become a big part of your life and your competitive nature.
Oh, of course. It's just one of those things where I just started doing, and the people are honestly the nicest people in the world. And you would just think that you would go to arm wrestle with guys in practice, and they would all want to, you know, they're all kind of intimidating and they don't
Hmm.
care. But no, everyone's there to help each other. It's like any other sport in the world, except I do think the camaraderie is top notch, if not the best.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where there's so many levels, right?
Hmm.
You know, you beat a guy, and then this guy beats another guy, and then this guy beats another guy, and then you realize he's not even a professional, and then this guy's a professional, and he gets beat by this guy, and you just it's such a, it's just a crazy sport, man. And
It
you
is.
know, I've been very fortunate to meet some world class arm wrestlers. In fact, one of the best in the world currently, I was able to arm wrestle with him in Toronto a couple months ago, and he's the most famous arm wrestler in the world. And I was actually able to have a conversation and talk with him.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's kind of like one of those sports where you said the camaraderie is great, and it's kind of like almost more of like a niche sport where it's like I'm sure the people that are in that community, like yourself, like just are super friendly with each other and always wanting to help, you guys level up and just work together and
Hmm.
have that camaraderie. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It's honestly
Yeah.
it's good stuff. The people are great. It's such a the sport is growing so fast. It's unbelievable. Like you get these new
Okay.
guys coming into practices all the time, and they're giving you a run for your money. And
Yeah.
this kid's like 15 years old, 16 years old, and you're like, I don't even understand. And fitness influencers like Larry Wheels and James English. You can use Juji Mufu.
Hmm.
They're all, you know, Thor from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You can use these world class athletes that are getting into the sport, and it's creating so much attention, and it's amazing because the people are so good, and it's really cool. I really do hope it's in the Olympics in the next 10 years. I really do.
That would be awesome to see. I hope it is too.
Of course.
Do you have like personally, do you have any goals connected to arm wrestling that like you hope to achieve coming up in the next year, a couple of years?
The next couple of years, I would like to go to a national level.
Okay.
I'm building a base right now. I'm number one in Canada as an amateur, and I'm about to turn pro on my right hand. I'm very close. I have a tournament coming up next month, and I won another tournament the month after. So depending on how I do, the next two tournaments, if I can place first in each, I think I'll transition to pro with my right hand. But
Okay.
I would like to go to a national tournament and place top two for sure.
Awesome. Are like national tournaments, are they, I don't know if like frequent's the right word or like is like,
Uh, yeah, they happen once a year.
okay.
So how it generally works is each province has their provincials,
Okay.
and in order to go to nationals, you have to place top two at provincials.
Okay.
So you'll place at your provincial level, and if you're able to place top one or two, then you'll obviously move to a national level. And
Yeah.
I think with nationals, you have to place top two as well to go to worlds, to actually go to
Okay.
worlds. So, um, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of levels to this.
Yeah, it sounds like it, but I mean, with like you said, you're the number one amateur right now in Canada, so that's huge, man. Congratulations on that. And it sounds like,
Yeah, no, thank you.
you have the right mindset and work ethic to get there. So I have no doubt you'll get there, man. I'm excited to watch your journey and everything.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's a crazy road ahead. There's a lot to come.
Yeah, of course, man. And I know you mentioned that you have your YouTube channel where you kind of document things, and I know Instagram as well.
Of course.
Do you, do you document any of the arm wrestling in on Instagram, or is that just more like lifestyle kind of do
I
there?
don't promote it. Like I'll put pictures up, but I don't promote my channel
Okay,
as much on my Instagram because I'm trying to make it more of like a natural feel through
gotcha.
YouTube.
Okay,
But yeah, no, I've just been putting up videos on YouTube, and I have like so many cool things that are coming in the future. A lot of travel, even deployments with the military. I would like to bring an
yeah,
arm wrestling table overseas. It could be anywhere from China, Japan. There's some really cool things I want to do, and
okay.
it's gonna take time, but I want to enjoy the journey for sure.
Yeah, awesome, man. That's it's so important to enjoy the journey, like we've talked about. What's your YouTube and Instagram so anyone listening can check out your content?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. It's just my name, Keanu McGill.
Okay.
YouTube and Instagram, and I should not be hard to find. Just look for the arm wrestling content.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, you guys heard it. Keanu McGill is going to be the way to search him on YouTube and Instagram to find his content. Look for probably the only one with that name doing arm
Yeah.
wrestling content. But also I'll throw that information in the description of this episode, so you can just click down in the description and go find Keanu that way and check out his stuff. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see where the journey takes you. I know that you're going to be doing great things, man. And yeah, is there anything that you have, like any last thoughts or message that you want to give to anyone listening?
Um, I don't I don't know if there's anything specific, but based on our conversation, I would just say to everyone listening, like, this is going to sound very cheesy, but see the glass half full, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. Honestly, I'm telling you, through from a financial standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, too, even if it seems like you're never going to get to that end goal or it's going to take a long time, just enjoy the process, especially if you're young. And a good starting point is just being aware of everything around you. Just be positive. Honestly, it goes a very long way, and it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very contagious for people around you, and people will jump on it. And just surround yourself with good people, great people. Enjoy the process, and we're only here once. You got to live it great, right?
Yes, sir. I love it. Very great way to end it. And I think that's a great way to also kind of recap and summarize everything that we've talked about today.
Hmm.
It's been great to talk with you, man, and I definitely would love to have you back again in the future. Whether we're talking because just won some big tournaments and you're making your way up through the arm wrestling ranks, or
Hmm.
just to touch base and see what's going on in your life. I definitely feel like I've learned a lot from you in this conversation, and I hope to anyone listening that you have learned a lot about just mindset and just the way to enjoy the journey and to view the glass half full as much as you can. But Keanu, man, it's been awesome having you. Thank you for taking the time to talk today.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure, obviously, coming on the show here, and I would love to come back on. Reach back out in a couple months, could a couple weeks, couple months, something like that, and I'd love to come back. But thank you so much. And like I said to everyone listening, honestly, see the glass half full, enjoy the process, be aware, and it will take you very, very far in life. I promise you.
Awesome. I love it. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Awesome, my friend. Thank you so much. We'll talk again.
Yep. Thank you. See ya.
Cheers, my friend. Bye.
Bye.